A little bit more determination, assertiveness, aggressiveness. I didn't feel we had that enough to the level where our guys are capable of anyway through the first two, and they found that in the third.
You've talked about overcoming adversity the last couple of days. Against a goal, 8 seconds into the third, put you down 3-1, and you can feel that, well, maybe this might not be their night. What does it say about the way they overcame that adversity in that third period?
Yeah, that was. I mentioned it to the group at the end of the game to give up. We give up the goal immediately into the third period to fall down 2 goals, and we haven't had a good night to that point yet. And then we responded. So it is a testament to the group's will, determination. But I think they know and we know our identity, and we knew we weren't playing to it to that point, and I think the collective feel going into the third was we are going to get to that. We are going to turn it up to that, and so I don't know that wavered much. Obviously, it didn't, as we see the result, but the effort that followed. But I think that's the reason. We knew we weren't playing to our identity, and they knew they could get to it. So it was just one more challenge.
What do you think about Owens playing the third period?
Oh, it was a great game by Owen. Obviously, we're short D. We're asking him to do a lot more than we should be asking, a 19-year-old guy to do. And that play to Victor Olofsson was, Victor had a completely empty net, by virtue of Owen, not only freezing the goaltender and freezing everything, but making the perfect pass right in the wheelhouse for Victor. Perfect velocity, perfect location, perfect timing. So it obviously says a lot.
Coach, talk about the first 10 games this season compared to last year's first 10 games of the season. Talk about the progression and then you see that they're doing differently.
I can't really struggle to compare it to the past because everything is in the context of this season now. We really don't know how good the league is yet. We're trying to figure the context of the league this year. There's lots of trades and lots of changes, and players get older and things change, and so every year is a new year, and we don't know where we fit in, but we do know there's a lot of areas we can improve on, a lot of areas we can progress, a lot of areas we have to, and that's really our daily focus.
What do you hear you see?
Just the difference, and as what you said now, is you knew that in the third period you would play the way you're supposed to. Just by the numbers as well, outscoring opponents 18-7 in the last period. What has been the difference that you're so confident in that, and then they play that way?
Well, we didn't play with enough pace, and we didn't play with our pace, and I didn't feel our guys were tired. There were no signs of fatigue. You see lots of signs of fatigue. You know your players, and if you know the game, you've been around the game a lot, and they showed no signs of fatigue. So, I felt comfortable they were going to get to their game. We don't know we're coming back. It's 3-1. You got a hell of a team over there. So, but I knew we had, a couple another levels that we could raise to, and it would be, I knew we could make a game of it. But the nice thing is you see guys making game-breaking plays in what would normally or previously be perceived as pressure. Skinner made a great play to break up a play on a back check that led to a 2-on-1, and Thompson made a great play to poise and wait and then put it perfectly for Tuck. I just mentioned Owen. So I feel that our guys are getting more comfortable as they gain experience in the league to make plays under pressure, and that's a little bit of what we've seen, the progression there.
They had overtime last night. Did you know if you could get on them in the third period that you might be able to wear them down?
I thought that, there was a chance anytime. It's tough to play back-to-back. I thought we would have a better energy and effort to start and more jump to start. We didn't. And the hope is, of course, you get better as a game goes along when you play a team that's in a tough situation like they were playing back-to-back. And but I just would would have loved to have that a little earlier, but it's the way it goes sometimes.
Did somebody's effort on the empty net goals that kind of Zemgus, so to speak?
Yeah, it does. It speaks of, Zemgus quite a bit. Just situational awareness. We talk a lot about, that's what players gain a better perspective on that, a better, as they gain more experience, they're more aware. And it was great. Beats an icing out. Battles, extends the possession. It leads to an empty net goal, which was obviously significant. I really like that. As you say that, the other part that I loved was the end of the game. Middlestead, Cousins, and they get into that battle, that scrum at the end of the game, and I literally had 10 guys turn around on the bench. They wanted to be the next guys out. I love the aggressive competitiveness of our group. And so those are two things that stuck out down the stretch for me.
On the offensively, right? That's sort of been like the story. But really, without three of your top six defensemen, I just want to hear about your take on both Conley and Anderson and how sturdy they've been and have been able to sort of keep your guys, relaxed and in check in these games where they know that, they have those two back there.
Yeah, those two guys are such team players that, when a goal against happens, the first person they look in the mirror and they blame themselves. I can tell by their body language and how they act. They never blame somebody else for anything, for chances against anything. And they are always trying to pick up their defenseman or their guy that might have made the last mistake on the play, or they're thinking about that. So they're really, exceptional athletes, but exceptional people. And that's an important dynamic when you're talking about any team, especially a young team, and especially where we're at right now with a lot of new defensemen, with key defensemen out, young guys back there that are going to make mistakes until they gain some more experience. And, Com was great. We mentioned that right away after the game, how solid he was for our group.
I know that power play's been something that's been perpetually worked on, but the Thompson goal power play right there, how easy is it to see the guys?
That power play goal was really nice for me or the coaches to see, because we want that movement, that motion. Guys interchange position. Lots of times you see a power play and guys anchor to spots, and we're trying to get more motion and more movement. And Skinner was on the half wall on the other side, and there was just a rotation of players, and their offensive instincts and creativity took over. That was a really nice component. That's something we're trying to build on the power play, and it's going to be a progression, but it was a good sign.
Hey, Coach, when you speak of adversity and pressure, you talk about it a lot. Are there any players in particular that say, hey, listen, let's wake up, let's get this going, let's go. It's third period, we got to get this.
Yeah, fortunately, we have lots of guys that aren't afraid to be vocal. That means they trust that their teammates trust them, that they speak up for the right reasons, and there's some care behind it. They will lead by example. So yeah, there's quite a few guys that obviously the guys that wear a letter, but beyond that, Middlestead, Cousins, Tuck, there's guys that aren't afraid to do that, and it's happening more and more, which is a good sign.